uh, this PowerPoint or this slide presentation available, because every time I kept trying to uh, practice for this, it came out different time frames. So there's a lot of content in here. Sometimes I got through it all and sometimes I didn't. So I'll be trying to watch for hand raises if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I'll hopefully have some time at the end that way you can ask some questions as well. Just a little bit about me if you don't know who I am. As Sharon mentioned, my name is Mickie Brewer. I'm currently an Office 365 trainer at Centric Training, as well as I own a consulting company where I've been doing development and advisory and all different kinds of things around the Microsoft 365 space. I've been a part of the SharePoint community for over 10 years now. And when Office 365 or Microsoft 365 came on the market, just kind of bled right into that community as well. If you want to contact me, there's my Twitter and my LinkedIn. Then I do have 2 different emails, obviously, because I have a company that do consulting, and then Centric is where you can contact me if you have any training needs around the product itself. Today we will be talking about productivity tips and tricks and things. Some of it will be demo, and some of it I'll just kind of show you on the screen here. Little things that I recommend maybe looking further into and doing some research and trying to find, how they can help you in your day-to-day activities. First off is just the keyboard shortcuts. I'm not sure if anyone, if you guys are familiar with some of these, feel comfortable using keyboard shortcuts, but I find that there are a few of them. I'm not a huge user myself, but there just seems to be a handful of them that I find pretty important and pretty useful throughout certain things. For instance, toggling your mute on a Teams call. So Control-Shift-M is what you can do to turn that on and turn that off. So sometimes it's a little bit easier to do that instead of clicking on the actual screen itself. OneNote, there's inserting a hyperlink. I use this all the time when it comes to OneNote. Control-K does insert the hyperlink, and you can either do that with the text already on the screen itself, or you can just hit Control-K where you want to start that hyperlink, and it will allow you to enter the text as well as the link. So both options work. Outlook. That send a message, Alt-S, just seems to be a really fast way. You're already typing the message on your keyboard. So instead of removing your hand from the keyboard and moving it over into the mouse section to click send, you can just hit Alt-S to just send that message. And then just so you know, insert a hyperlink. Control-K also works in Outlook as well. So you'll find a lot of the keyboard shortcuts can kind of work amongst many applications, Microsoft or Windows and other applications as well. Some of the other ones here, as we move down, you can read the screen. And again, like I said, I'll go ahead and make these keyboard shortcuts, this whole slide deck available somehow. I'm sure Sharon will be able to do that for us. Just moving down the list, adding a new task in the To-Do app. So I don't know if anybody's been using the To-Do or what was formerly known as tasks in Outlook. And so adding a new task is just Control-N. SharePoint, I find that Alt-S to go into the search box in SharePoint does help, especially when I'm looking for a particular file, particular news post or something like that. Looks like we're getting quite a few entries here in the lobby. OneDrive, this is also the search box, but this is more for the File Explorer window. So it's obviously true even outside of OneDrive, just for File Explorer in general. Control-E will take you up to that search box, which will usually help find those files a little bit easier. If you're familiar with Stream is our video portal within Office 365, and very similar to any other type of video, pushing the play or pause is just entering the space bar. So again, hopefully some of these look somewhat familiar to even other products outside the Microsoft space. Sway, which is what today's presentation is in. Actually, it's not PowerPoint. It's actually using Sway, which is a more of a browser-based PowerPoint. And so to turn on that play mode, it is Alt-Shift-P for play. Yammer's got a couple of quick little keyboards. So if you're in Yammer, just hitting that / will take you up to the search bar, as well as just starting a whole new update or a whole new post. It's just the C button on there. There are some other ones like Planner and some of these ones people, it doesn't mean that there aren't keyboard shortcuts. It's just ones that I don't technically find useful at that. And then I know some of my team members and some of the people I work with, we all talk about how, the screen sometimes is a little bit smaller, and I can kind of see working remotely. You may not have, a complete office setup like you do at your actual building. So if you need to kind of make your entire screen on your machine, on your Windows 10 machine, larger, it's under the new ease of access settings and your Windows 10. There's actually quite a bit of things in there. You can change the size and of your mouse, your cursor, change, adjust for your text being bigger, and all that kind of stuff underneath the settings of ease of access. So it kind of goes along that line of Microsoft putting a lot of money into accessibility and being able to accommodate all different types of people and, however they need to work. All right. So I'm not sure if everyone is currently using the new upgraded Edge Chromium browser or not. I believe, if I remember correctly, I've been using it for quite a while, but I think it was, if you've made an update to your Windows 10 machine here in the last maybe 2 updates ago, I think it actually did automatically update your browser. So, but I'm sure a lot of you are Chrome users as well. So, not saying you can't use Chrome, but I would challenge you maybe over the next 30 to 60 days to try to use that Edge Chromium browser. And the couple of reasons why are some of the add-in options. Browser profiles also, which I know Chrome has had for a while, but obviously the browser profiles sync to your Microsoft accounts. And there's a couple of other options in the next section down here that we'll talk about that actually helps kind of have all that whole sync across all of your devices. But some of the browser add-ins that I recommend of adding to the Microsoft Chrome is first off the Microsoft Editor. If some of you are familiar with Grammarly, if you've got that browser add-in to your browser, it's great. I'm not saying it's not, but Microsoft Editor is very comparable, if not almost identical to it. And it's also inside your Office products as well. So it's inside Word and Excel and things like that too now. So kind of get used to using it in one, then you can kind of shift over into your Office products into the browser and using it there too. To kind of give you a little example of what that looks like. Move this here. So I just threw together a real quick document. And it's this little editor icon up here in the home ribbon. We are in the browser. So this is available in the browser and it's available in the desktop option. But you can see here up in my browser, I have it added as an add-in, but I also have it here available inside my Word document. What's cool about it having it in the Word document is it's giving me even just more than just spelling and grammar. It's giving me this kind of editor score, telling me that it's obviously found a lot of things wrong with this document. It's only at 43% as far as what it would recommend before sending it out to anyone. And that's because I'm using kind of Latin. So obviously Latin is not a compatible language at this point. But there's even refinements down here, acronyms, clarity, consistency, formatting, all these kind of things. You can see where there's check marks and where there's some recommendations. Conciseness is so if you want to, it'll click on it and take you to those locations and then make a suggestion as far as how to change something or whatever that looks like. A lot of other stats down here, readability, the distinct words, all that kind of thing. How long does it take to read? It just gives you a lot more insight around your documents. So it's goes above and beyond just that spelling and grammar. And for those of you that are in document creation positions in your job, so I think of HR comes to mind first and foremost, right? There's a lot of policies and procedures that they might be creating. This can definitely kind of help tailor and kind of format, make you look a little bit more professional when you're creating those documents. Okay. All right. So as we continue back here, Office is the other add-in, and I don't know if anybody on the call has had any experience with this or not, but it's really just a very simple add-in. It's up here in my browser. I've already got it signed in and logged into my account today. And as you can see, it it's kind of like that Office 365 homepage almost. So it's giving me kind of a list of a different applications that I can jump into really quickly as far as navigation is concerned. But it's also showing me some really recent documents that I've had opened. And I can even upload and open a document straight from this little add-in here. If you click on more documents, it is going to take you into your OneDrive. So this is going to open OneDrive directly here in the browser for you. The next kind of thing that I have is the share to teams. Okay. This is not necessarily a Microsoft, but it was created by one of the one of the members of the community itself. So it's a share to teams add-in for your browser. You can see up here I've got it listed along with the other ones that I have. And to give kind of a demo of what this can do for you, I've got an article here already open on my screen. Let's see here. There we go. And if I want to share this to Teams, just open up really quickly. It's just logging into Teams kind of here in the background. And we wait. Maybe. There we go. I didn't have to log in because I'm already signed in under the browser profile. So if you guys aren't familiar with browser profiles, I definitely recommend taking a look at those. But so it already knows who I am and what my team's environment looks like and what teams and channels I have access to. So for instance, I'm going to send this one into our go-to-market plan, which is in the Mark 8 project team. So just simply start typing in the name of the channel and it will bring up whatever options you are. If you have a couple of channels that have some of the similar first couple letters, you may need to get past that in order for the search here to find which one specifically that you're looking for. And then I just quickly hit the share button. There you go. Close that out. And then when I do open Teams, which is I have somewhere around here. There we go. We go to the go-to-market, and there's the email that I sent, or not the email, sorry, the article that I sent into my Teams channel. So you can see here, Mark 8 project go-to-market plan. Okay. The other option that we have here is collections. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard of collections or not, but this is kind of it's a Edge Chromium specific function. It's not an add-in or anything that you necessarily need to add into the browser. It should already be available to you. It's up here next to your profile picture. If you've got yourself logged in, you just click this little add-in button here. As you can see, I've already got one collection created. So if I open this collection, it's just kind of a snippet of a couple of images, some text that I've created. at which time I was able to then send it into, for instance, a Word document. So this collection would look like this in my Word document when it's finished. I didn't actually have to do any editing to this. It just, as soon as I sent that collection into Word, it captured this in this reference. So the name of the collection itself, it's giving me references, as far as where I got the different images and text that it was that I kind of almost like a snippet type thing. So to just kind of give you a real quick example of this, we'll do our, let's see here. I find that I use this quite a bit to create instructional documents almost. Being a trainer and being a consultant, both of those roles really are prone to creating, step-by-step instructions and things like that. And wherever I can quote unquote shamelessly steal within the rules of legal ramifications, obviously, I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel if I don't have to. So Microsoft provides obviously really great step-by-step instructions for a lot of different things. This is telling you how you can share a channel conversation from Teams into Outlook. So kind of the opposite of moving things from Outlook into Teams, and then you can also move things from Teams back into Outlook. If I want to start a whole new collection for this, I click my little collection option here. I start a new one. Whatever this collection is going to be, I can give it a name. So Teams to Outlook, however detailed, whatever that title is that you want. Then it's just as simple as highlighting what it is that I want and dragging it over. Even this image, I can just click and drag that over as well. Maybe. There we go. And being a little patient. Obviously, I wasn't very patient. And what I had done on the previous browser collection that I had done, that was the combination of 2 or 3 different websites. So this information will stay here if I wanted to go to a different, if I want to click on Outlook on the web, go into the docs that they have here in Microsoft, and if we'll scroll down and maybe I want something here dragged into there. So I can kind of combine all of this information from various websites and building a whole new document around that. And when I'm finished, then you can either send it into Excel, into Word, open all of them, or copy everything over however you want to. So it's a very different, if you thought it was just a bookmark, it's way much more than that. So the collections within the browser is way more than just your traditional bookmarks. All right, just trying to see if we have any questions. I don't think I saw anything come up. Oh, we got a chat here. All right, Control N opens a new message for me, is what Kim was saying. Yep. You have to be, I'm not sure, let's see here, Control, add a new task if you have to be in your to-do app in order for Control N to specifically work for a new task. Otherwise, yeah, if you have Outlook open and you Control N, it will start a new message. So making sure that you click on the right browser or application that you're in does have a big factor of that. So great question, Kim. Thanks for making sure that I clarify. All right. Next thing is clip to OneNote. If any of you joined my previous session sometime last year, I'm sure you've seen this, but for those of you that have not, we will go ahead and show you how to do that. Again, the OneNote is a add-in here for our browser. And I could clip this whole entire document if I wanted to, this whole section of this document. And the way that I do that here is clip to OneNote. I've added it already to my browser. Open this up. And again, I had to log in with my Microsoft account. And the more and more that I do within the browser with that, Megan profile that I am today, the more and more it will start to remember certain locations and things that I've been to. Um, but this is very similar to the snippet or snagit tool, but I feel like it has a little bit better functionality um, when you are looking for that true type of snipping type of thing. It has a region-based one that I can kind of click and drag, but that really doesn't necessarily always do what it was that I want to do. For instance, I have to scroll pretty far down on this screen to get to this entire article, and so I don't want just one section of it. I want the entire article itself. And so for here, if you're looking at a full page, and as some of us know, when we go and search for instructions or questions around errors or whatever that is, a lot of times there's a bunch of ads on the page itself, and so I don't like that. And it would take too much to kind of snip and clip things, and you could put them all in a collection, for instance, if there was a bunch of ads in between each step. Or what I really like about this is if I just select the article, it kind of cleans all that stuff up for me, as you can see here. And then down here in my locations, I can put it into one of my OneNotes. Now, obviously, I'm not Megan on a daily basis, so it's not seeing as many OneNotes as I actually have opened on my screen every day. But so as you start to build out these browser profiles and as you start to use these tools, it will start to give you access to more OneNotes that you have access to. We're just going to add this to the one articles webbed here and click on clip. As you can see, it's clipping that article. And then I can click view in OneNote and it will open that OneNote, but I actually do have it open already. Right here. There we go. So articles to read, enable or disable Outlook for the mailbox. As you can see there, it gives me the link from which it came. It's not an image like the snippet tool does. So this is all text. It is all searchable within OneNote, which is great because now if there's a certain term or keyword or something that I'm looking for, I'll be able to search for it using OneNote's great search capabilities. As we scroll down, you can see there's no ads, there's no extra little things there that were on the page. It's a very clean, nice way of copying something in there. Okay. Next up, we have open this way here. I'm not sure why that closed. Well, that's interesting. Sorry about this. All right. Get back down here. All right, so as we move into our next section, this is more around organization and being able to keep track of certain things as they come into your desk, and whether that's through email, through tasks that have been assigned to you, or things like that. Excuse me. First thing is that we have our to-do app. I'm not sure if you guys have ever tried to use the to-do app or not, but this is what it looks like. It did replace tasks in Outlook. So when you're in Outlook and you click on your little task icon up here, the My Day, this is actually pulling from your to-do list. Right there's your to-do list. Okay, so there's a little shortcut to it right there in your calendar option. But this is the to-do list. Got some up there. One of the things that I want to show you how to turn on is the flagged email section. So any emails that you flag within your Outlook, as well as any tasks in Planner, that have been assigned to you, no matter what group they're a part of. So if you have tasks that have been assigned to you and they're across multiple plans, they'll all show up here in one list, and then you can organize them and move them around and check them off and all that kind of thing. And they'll be checked off in Planner as well. But if this doesn't come on automatically for you, you will need to come up here into the gear and go into the to-do settings. And it's towards the bottom where it says connected apps. Just make sure Planner and flagged emails are turned on, and then you'll get those 2 additional settings there for you. All right. So flagged emails to do and assigned Planner tasks to do. One of the other 2 Microsoft applications that you can actually find in the store. One is in the Google Store or the Apple Store, and that's the Microsoft Launcher. I know that it works on Android, which is why I put Android there. I've not personally had an experience with an iPhone because I don't have it. So you iPhone people will have to let me know. Shoot me something on LinkedIn or something like that if you find out if it works or not for there. And then on the opposite side of that, there's an app that you can download from the Microsoft Store on your computer called Your Phone. And so this has been really helpful to me in a couple of different options, where I was already, or maybe needing to type up a text message or send something to someone that's a little bit longer than what I would like to do on my phone itself. And I have Microsoft Launcher already on my Android phone, and I already connected this, so I'm not sure why it's not connecting here, but we'll give it a minute. But Your Phone app will actually allow you to kind of display your phone on your actual machine itself. The Microsoft Launcher, which is available on your phone, what that does for you is it really helps streamline and sync all your devices together. So if you have yourself logged in on your phone to your Office 365 account, as well as have yourself logged in obviously on your PC, the Microsoft Launcher will kind of save some of those browser settings, save those browser add-ins, even some of the searches. It's a little scary sometimes when I searched for something at work and then I come home and I open my search box and I, go to search for something. It already shows the search history from my work because I have my work set up through Microsoft Launcher. Now, for those of you that aren't interested in, combining your personal and professional, that's fine. If you have a personal account with Microsoft, you can do the same thing with your personal account too. It doesn't necessarily have to be with your business account, but I think I've got way too many things open on my screen here, so apologize for this, but it was a pretty easy setup on my Android phone. I think it was like 3 steps and I had this connected. So it's almost like if you're familiar with screencasting, to your Roku or to your television or something like that. It's very similar to the same type of concept here. You can see it's already got somewhat of a connection going because that is my screensaver for today. Which is cool about the Microsoft Launcher is it does give me the option to have a Bing background, which changes on a daily basis. So if you use Bing to search, or you have the maybe the Bing background on your wallpaper or something like that, every image is different every day, and so I get that same functionality on my phone. So this is actually my phone. As you can see, my calendar here, and I've got that Bing image in the background, and my Outlook and all that kind of stuff. And it is, I can actually click on this stuff, so I can actually open my weather app from my computer and take a look at how hot it is out there today, and then click here and go back to my home. But if I want to type up, text message or, whatever the case may be, or play music or, whatever, I can do all of that. So over here are my notifications that I would be able to visibly see on my computer screen as they come in on my phone, as well as messages. This would take me into whatever default text messaging system. I use the Facebook Messenger for mine, but you may use something different. And then my photos, and I can now, one of the newer features is kind of making phone calls. What I like most about this is the drag and drop feature of the files. So if there are files on my phone or there are files on my computer, I can drag and drop them across each device. So instead of going through the whole upload or syncing process. So I don't know if you guys play around with that. Hopefully it intrigues you as much as it did me when I first found it. Delve boards and Delve favorites. These are two things that obviously you can find under your Microsoft Delve profile. And if you're not familiar with that, what that is, Delve profile is from, let me close out some here. There we go. It's just your profile. So my office profile over here on the right-hand side. And this takes you into Delve. There we go. Some people are kind of scared about Delve because when they first come in here, they just see a lot of information. But I will tell you this, that if you don't know, Delve is only showing you the information that you actually have access to. So there might be a lot of things that you have access to and you don't know. And that might be why you're seeing some of those files or, something along those lines, but it's trying to bridge connections between yourself and the patterns and the people that you're communicating with. If we think about where we've come from over the last, decade or so, when it comes to, creating files and searching for files, we had the file explorer. So we always had to click into folders and click down into folders and so on until we found those documents. Then search came around, and search in a file explorer, as some of you have found, is not very powerful whatsoever. But within Office 365, we now have kind of a much more Google-like search capabilities, which can search, depending upon where you're at, across multiple applications. It can read files as long as they're in an OCR or a text-based document like Excel, certain PDFs and things like that. What we're moving into, and some of you may have been seeing some of this in your own company, your own organization, but is that machine learning, which kind of falls under artificial intelligence. And Delve is one of the baby steps, I like to say, when it comes to kind of machine learning for you as an individual within your organization. It's kind of serving up to you on a silver platter some of the documents or attachments from Outlook or something along those lines that it thinks or hopes that it will help you do your what it is that you do every day with those documents and the patterns and the people that you communicate with. But there's a couple of ways that you can organize these documents that you find that are helpful. One of them is favoriting them. So over here on the left-hand side, you can see that you kind of have a favorite section. And the way that you would do that is you just come into your home, or me, whichever one, but we'll start from home here. And as we, here's an org chart in Visio, for instance. I'm just going to click this little bookmark icon here, and that's going to put it in my favorite section. Here's a P&L summary, so I'm going to put that in my favorite sections. And then when I come over here to my favorites, it's there's my org chart that I favorited, and there's my P&L summary. I really personally have gotten away from using bookmarks and favorites. Like, I don't even use them anymore. I use multiple other factors when it comes to favoriting things, pinning things, a couple of the things that I'll show you today, so that they become much more virtual and I can access them from multiple devices and multiple locations. So this is one of those options. So if you have a bunch of bookmarks and favorites, some of these tips that you'll learn today will hopefully challenge you and have you try other alternative ways of doing it. And then you can truly work from home or work from your office or even on your phone if you travel at all for work. I think that's what probably pushed me over the edge is just all the amount of travel that I do for work, and being both trainer and consultant. I both of those jobs require a lot of travel, so it kind of forced me out of a lot of my comfort areas, um, to challenge myself into using some of these products the way they were technically, you know, made to be used. In order to create boards, so favoriting is just giving one document a favorite or kind of pinning or bookmarking that one document. But creating a board is very similar to creating the collections that we showed you just earlier in the browser, only here you're doing it with documents instead. So if we have maybe a sales process, right? So you can see here sales results. We have a sales process as far as the Visio is concerned. And I want to just create a new board that's called sales. And so I just type in the name of it, hit enter, and then that tags that document as a sales board. Now that I've created that board, I can add that you can see here in the drop down menu. It actually found that board that I just created. And so now I'm tagged this document as sales as well. Over here on the left hand side, now I see a whole new board that's been created that's called sales. And when I click on it, those two documents that I put on this board will now show up. And if I put more and more documents here, you can see that we are grouping or organizing these documents into, you know, categories or whatever it is, or maybe this is a project that we're going to be working on for the next, you know, 3 months or something like that. Okay, so you can use these boards. As you can see, I've got proposals, electronics, a couple of different boards over here, and you can come and go with these boards. These are all individual, personalized for you as your own, you know, user there. All right. Don't know why this keeps closing out here. Sorry about that. I'll just move this over here. Maybe it won't. Okay. Well, while I wait for that to open, the next section that we're going to talk about is really turning off the noise or turning it on. If you're new to Office 365, maybe you don't have enough noise coming to you in order to help facilitate and, you know, change your behavior when it comes to adopting the whole Office 365 platform and getting the products to work for you and not against you. And so when we talk about turning on and off the noise, that's what I refer to as just notifications, and giving you a little idea around all the different places that you can find those notifications. We're going to start in Outlook this first time around. And so let me get back to our Outlook here. So I had mentioned search being really powerful now in Office 365, and I think that's actually one of the huge things that sets it apart from other applications is just its search capabilities. But in Outlook, we have a search box up here at the top, and I like that search box. But one of the things that I found when I started using this is that it kept showing me all the deleted items, which didn't make sense to me. If I deleted them, I'm hoping that I don't need to reference them again. So there's actually a setting within Outlook that you can go and turn off and remove those deleted items from showing up in your search. It's not removing them permanently. So if you do need to go into your trash to find something, you can. You just have to go into your trash to find it because it won't show up in the search. So this, if you are a person that goes into your trash quite a bit, this may be not the best setting for you, but for me it was. So let me just really quickly show you how to get there. Under the gear in all Outlook settings, it's going to bring up our little pop-up box, and it is under our general side of things, and then down here under search. Okay, so here it says include deleted items while searching all folders. If you uncheck this box and hit save, the delete will no longer, your deleted items will no longer show up in your search box. And I found that very beneficial to a lot of the things that I'm doing to kind of slim down what it is that I'm looking for, filtering out. I don't have to do that extra little step. Okay. One of the other things that I have found helpful, because I actually use the Outlook on the web. I don't even think I remember the last time I've opened my desktop application. But if you do, um, and you kind of want to turn on or turn off those desktop notifications and you're in the web, there's a way for you to do that here, under the gear is turning on the desktop notifications. So this is very similar to like Teams or Skype for Business, if you're familiar with that, running in the background and not actually having the application open. So this, what it does is it turns on or opens the desktop in the background so that you can get those very similar banner flyouts that a lot of us are used to. And so you can turn on that desktop notification right here under the gear. Okay. All right, if we go into all Outlook settings here, and we're going to move down into calendar buffers. I'm not sure if any of you have seen a lot of the tweets and other blog posts and stuff once we moved into, this whole COVID working from home situation. I saw a lot of people talking about this on Twitter around turning on the ability to have kind of a buffer between your appointments on your calendar. Okay. And so under Outlook's all settings, under the calendar side of things, and events and invitations, if you want to end your, I'm not even seeing that here. I'm wondering where it's at. End appointments and meetings early. It's usually right here. It's interesting. At least I thought it was. It was just here the other day. Okay, well, maybe we'll skip that one for now. If I find it later on, I'll let you guys know, but it's interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, we'll move on to the next. All right, so we're going to move out of Outlook and into SharePoint. There's a couple of things that I like to do within SharePoint. If your company uses SharePoint, hopefully this will be beneficial to you. But this is the SharePoint homepage, and there's a couple of items here that I want to point out as far as just being able to kind of turn on or turn off that noise or those notifications that you're getting. And one of them is first set up what sites that you want to follow. So in reference to using bookmarks and favorites, SharePoint uses the term following, and that you can star which ones you're following. So for instance, if I want to follow this digital initiative public relations SharePoint site, I can just quickly click this little star, which would then bring it up in here to my following section, which if I click on see all, gives me a list of all the quote unquote bookmarked SharePoint sites that I go to on a regular basis within my company. Once you have your following set up correctly, then you will start to receive news posts from those sites that you are following and that you're a part of, if your company obviously is posting news out there. News post is very similar to an announcement or to a newsletter or to a blog, only obviously it's internal to your organization. It can be done by any department. It doesn't have to be those standard HR, IT, marketing type of departments. If you want to just let your whole company know that you're launching a new project, or maybe you've got a new win or something with a new client, or whatever the case may be, you can use kind of these news posts as a really nice communication tool. But as a user, once you start getting some of these news sites up and running and start seeing some of this news populate across the top part of your SharePoint homepage, there may be interesting articles that you're interested in reading. You just may not necessarily have the time to do that right away. And so, for instance, let's say I want to see this New York launch lessons learned. Well, there might be lessons that I can learn from this for other future projects, but I don't have time at this instance to read this article or this post. So I can come down here and click on the little bookmark, and you can see over here on the left-hand side, I have a whole news saved for later section that's giving me a list of all the different news posts that I want to book. And when I've finished reading them and I'm, done with them, I can just quickly remove from that list, and it will help keep that all cleaned up and relevant to what it is that I need to get done at that time. All right. Then when we look at OneDrive, I've had a couple of my clients, or even in training sessions with various clients, when we were talking about sharing and permissions and getting all of those emails, there's a way that you can kind of turn those off, or turn them on temporarily, and then once you get used to them, you can turn them off. But the ones that I'm talking about is after you've shared a file with someone, then you get that annoying email that comes to you and says, oh, they clicked on the link. Well, I'm hoping that I, have a trust in my team, I guess, and if I'm sharing a file, that they will get to that file, in the due date or the time frame that I've requested them to get to it. I don't necessarily need to clutter up my Outlook any further than it already is. So one of the things that you can do within your OneDrive settings is you can actually turn off some of those notifications as you see fit. One of them obviously being when that link is clicked, I don't necessarily want that email coming to me telling me that they've, opened the file. Okay, so you can see automatically it brings you into the notification section. And so you can see we've got just a couple of options. There might be, some more coming down the line here. But this is particularly the email that I was talking about, is turning this off. When an email notification with a link is in a sharing email and you sent was clicked, I don't necessarily need that notification. Is it possible to run, we have a question here, is it possible to run 2 OneDrives on a laptop, work and home? Yeah, actually it is. You can see down here on my screen, I have 2 OneDrives. I've actually, doing various different projects, I've had up to 5 OneDrives synced. Really, it all depends upon the size of the machine. And because on my travel laptop, if I are not active within that OneDrive for, I think, 90 days or longer, then it kind of almost turns it off temporarily. So you may find yourself having to go, into there and kind of re-triggering or refreshing that information. But yeah, you can definitely have more than one OneDrive there. Keep getting error messages. There's a couple of things, Kim, that you might want to look into. My first and foremost is making sure that you're on a Windows 10 machine, making sure that it has the most updated version of Windows 10 and the most updated version of Windows OneDrive. So that's probably where I would recommend starting with those error messages. So yeah, thanks, Rose, for piping in on that as well. All right. We have a bunch of other notifications. You'll have Yammer notifications if your company uses Yammer. You'll have Teams notifications if your company is using Teams, which I think a lot of us on the phone today are. So let me kind of go through just really quickly where you can find some of that that information. Maybe there we go. I'll show Yammer first. If you haven't seen the new Yammer preview, it is available. Your admins can turn it on or turn it off at this point or make it optional. So I have it turned on in this tenant. This is what the new Yammer looks like. So my Yammer settings in the new version is over here under my gear under edit settings here. And you can see I'm an admin as well in Yammer, so that's why I get both options. Then here we come under the notification section. All right, and if you have external networks that you are a part of in Yammer, they will be listed here. Otherwise, as you can see here, this tenant, I'm only a part of one, so I can turn on or turn off all of these notifications, as well as follow certain things that are coming. So if I want to get notified when something happens there, or operations or something like that, I want to make sure that these boxes are checked as well. So if there's one group that's more important than the others or something like that, not only look up here around, when is it going to email me, but also when there's new activity in the groups itself. Okay. Within Teams, we actually have settings in two different locations. First off, we have it over here under your profile picture. You have settings. Okay, under settings, we have the nice little notification settings, all different kinds of things. I would highly recommend that if you are new to Teams, that you set these up to get an email. If you don't have Teams open, or you're not working inside Teams every day. As time progresses and you start getting used to building the habits of opening Teams every day or something along those lines, then I would definitely recommend starting to use the activity feed to kind of facilitate and push all of those notifications into the feed, because then it's kind of a one-stop shop and you can just kind of go there and look down the line as far as what's happened and what's been going on in all the different teams. The settings and notifications that are under this section affect all of the teams and all of the channels that you are a part of, that you have access to. Okay, so it's much more broad. Whereas when we look at from a team by team type of approach, you can turn on and turn off channel notifications. Okay, so channel notifications are different than just a generic notification across teams in general. This is where you'll want to pick out a few of those channels from various teams that are important to you, because just because you're a part of a team doesn't necessarily mean that every channel within that team is important or relevant to the job that you do. But as a team, it's nice to know that we can jump in there and see what's going on with other parts of the process or parts of the team. But those channel notifications are going to be where you'll want to get notified when certain things are happening in one of those channels that is important to you. On the opposite side of that, what I've found after working in Teams for almost 2 years now nonstop is I've kind of gone in reverse. I have a couple of teams that I watch and that I have, I see the little bolded channel names here because I have Teams open on my desktop every day. I have it open on my phone every day. And so I don't necessarily need the notifications on the teams that I'm actually in every day. Where I need my notifications are in this teams that I'm not in every day. And again, it goes to like for instance, our sales team. Because I'm a trainer at Centric Training, I don't necessarily need the notifications on every single activity that happens under the sales team. But there is one channel in there that is dedicated to Office 365, which is obviously what I teach at Centric. And so I turn my notifications on for that one channel. Otherwise, everything else is kind of, shut down or turned off. And so I only want to know when activity is made or things are posted under that one channel. And frankly, I actually have the whole sales team itself hidden in my team. So I only get notified when something happens in that one channel in that one team. So I've kind of gone through the whole progression of having everything coming through email and then turning that down and working through my activity feed. But now I've even gone one step further and actually, since I'm in it every day, I've kind of turned on channel notifications for those one-off situations, not my everyday situation, but for the, exceptions to the rule type of thing. So that might be a new concept to think about once you get a little bit more up and running on Teams. Okay. And then, as I mentioned before, I love my activity feed. I use it quite a bit as far as, just being able to use it almost like a navigation. Under your activity feed, every time you click on something, it's actually going to take you, to that post, to that location, and highlight it in yellow. So I can see here, Joanna uploaded, a couple of documents that I need to look at or need to review or whatever the case may be. So I almost even use it as a navigation tool. Very similar to, I see this almost like an email mailbox, where I know that if it's unread, I need to look at it. And if it's read, then I've already seen it and I've taken care of it or done something with it. And you can always unread these. So if you just looked at it and you're like, okay, well, I'll get back to that later, you can use the save message options that you have within each post, which is under the ... here, save this message, and or just mark it unread so that you know that you need to do something with this. I've seen on the roadmap, just if you guys are interested, I've seen on the roadmap, but that more kind of reminder or task oriented type of functionality might be coming down the road. It was actually one of the things posted on User Voice. So definitely look forward to that moving forward. All right, there's still a lot more that I can share with you guys today, but I want to give a few minutes for questions or comments or feedback or anything that you want to. We've got about 5 minutes left here, so feel free to unmute and ask any questions you want. Anybody?
Hey, Mickie, is there a way to on notifications, like all of them?
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
Is there a way to turn the notifications on for all channels, just like a default, so I don't have to go through each one?
Yeah, so that would be your standard settings here in Teams. This affects whenever you come in here under this notification, this would be for every single, post or chat messages and conversations and things like that. So that's as generic as you can get with that.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great question. Let's see, looks like we may have a chat here. Let me try to open that. Oh, okay. Maybe not. Any other questions?
Hey, Mickie.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for going over all this with today and thank everybody for coming. I have to hop off in a couple minutes for another meeting, but you're welcome to stick around and answer questions as long as you want. And I just wanted to say have a great month and see everybody next time.
Great. Thanks, Sharon. I'll give a PDF version of this, which goes into even a little bit extra tips and tricks that I wasn't able to cover in the time frame, and I'll give that so we can get that posted out somewhere too. So.
Yep, that'd be great. Well, we'll post the recording out on our user group website on the YouTube channel, and anything you send over, we'll get that posted out there as well.
All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I'll stay on for just a few more minutes, but otherwise I would just want to thank everyone for coming and have a good rest of your week as well.
Thanks, Mickie.
Hey, Mickie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Tina. Hey.
Yes.
So I saw that there was a lobby going on while we were doing this, and I assume it was done more in an event. But Jen had a call this morning that there was a lobby situation going on, and we didn't know that that was happening, I guess, in Teams for just setting up a call.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you can actually change those on a like kind of a meeting by meeting type of situation. Let's see here, and it usually happens pretty often as far as when you have guests or external
Yes, that's what it
members.
was.
Yeah. So, like if I were to look at this meeting here, hopefully it's got a link on there. And of course it's not a Teams one. Let me see if I can find a Teams one here.
How about the one for today? No.
Well, I'm not in that tenant.
Oh, that's not okay.
So
I'm gonna look at mine.
Anyways, you should see down here in the Teams link, there should say underneath it should say meeting options, and that's where you can go in and manage that. And let me see if I do have my Centric open here.
So if she was already in, they were already trying to get in, is it too late to change it at that point?
Nope.
No? Okay. I'm gonna try to look at one of my Teams meetings as well.
Yeah, so here, like for instance, here's our weekly team meeting. So down here, there's meeting options underneath the join meeting. So I can come in here, and I just changed that.
And you could do that like after it's already started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. You can do that when you first schedule the meeting. You can do that at any point in time. It is also something that can be driven from an admin perspective. So since I know who you are and you work for the same company, I might be able to go in and change that globally. So.
Okay. Well, Jen just had it this morning and we were trying to fix it through going into Teams and we couldn't find a settings button or anything like that. So
yeah. So here it says who can bypass the lobby, and I have mine set to everyone, but I bet hers is set to one of these others.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what that is.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thanks.
Lots of good tips.
Yeah. Anyone else? All right. It is the top of the hour. Oop, did someone have a question? Nope. Okay. Well, it is technically 1 o'clock, so I will go ahead and stop sharing and stop the recording at this point. And if you have any further questions or whatever, feel free to reach out to me or Sharon or any one of the leaders here on the team, and we will be able to help navigate your questions. But again, appreciate it. Have a great rest of your week, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.